Hello, CFA Nation. Gabe.
Nick.
And we are here today to bring you guys another installment of Our Three Wickets. Oh, Nixon wicket taking for me. See how slowly he did that? Just put that bad boy away there. And honestly, that's what the umpires were doing, because in the last 2 days, the wickets were falling, cousin. Oh my gosh. We started the day with 3 wickets on day 4, and literally, we didn't make it through the second session. It finished really early. So much to discuss about this test match. Second test match in Chennai, India versus England. All right, Nick, I'm gonna let you start because, of course, you're on the winning side, rocking your India hat there, and you had a lot of venom and anger spewing out of you last time when England won. So, go ahead, my friend.
Listen, they could not lose this match. And I don't mean that as far as they were so good coming in that they just were not going to lose it. They literally could not lose this match because it was so important as far as the World Test Championship goes. If they lost this match, they were out of it. It was either England or Australia. They lost the first match, and I was very upset about that because you allowed them to get 600 runs in your home, in your home, on your pitch. How do you allow that to happen? England just was doing whatever they wanted to do. Joe Root was doing whatever they wanted to do. He wanted to do. So this win needed to happen. The chances of England winning 2 in a row against India and India are very, very slim. But I don't care about that. They needed to get this win. You see this S on my chest right now? I wish there was an H next to it. And we'll get to that in a second. But some of the guys on this squad were like Superman. I'm going to go ahead and get started with what I liked, what I loved, right? Talk about the SH. You're talking about Sharma and Ashwin, all right? Those guys were Superman out there. Sharma, and I mentioned my case at the end of our stream for why I thought Ashwin should win man of the match, and I see it right now. He was man of the match. I think he should have won it. But don't take anything away from Sharma, and don't think I take anything away from Rohit Sharma. There was one point where I think he was like 80 or 90, and he had a strike rate of 100 or more. Right. He has been struggling. I called for him to get dropped, him and Rahane. Right. He came in. India was, in my opinion, I wasn't feeling good about the squad at what happened the first match. And what he did set the tone and allowed everyone to take a huge sigh of relief. Everyone could take a huge breath and say, okay, my man just got us a 160 lead. And then Pujara put in 21. Rahane, another guy I wanted dropped, put in 67. And then Pont does Pont things with 58. That first inning set the tone so much because the pitch, calling it a dust bowl. Dust was going up everywhere. It happened to Kohli again. I mean, dust was just all over the place. And it could have been one of those wickets where maybe they would have been all out for sub 100 for crying out loud. And no one probably wouldn't have blamed them that much because the pitch was so different. It was turning so much. And what Rohit Sharma did was masterful. It set the tone and it allowed everyone to breathe and relax. So in that sense, I can see why you'd want him to be man of the match. 100%. But Ashwin, and I mentioned on the stream, he contributed heavily to 3 of the 4 innings with the century for Ashwin, for crying out loud. And he's not a garbage hitter, not so much. But what we saw in Australia when they were able to draw that third match, he saw a bazillion balls and scored very little because that's what his team needed. Now, his team didn't need that century because they were well ahead. They won by 317. But you just never know in test. You want to get as many runs as possible. And he was able to score at a higher strike rate than what we saw when he was, he had serious injuries. He could barely even walk, for crying out loud.
Right.
And then he got his fifer, and then he got 3 in the second innings where wickets were just falling so crazy that it was like one of those games where like you throw like all the candy in the air, like a piñata, and how many can you guys all pick up because they're just falling like crazy? And he got himself 3 there. I loved what they did because I'm sorry, Gill was not able, and they said he was injured at the end of the match. He was not able to contribute. Pujara was not the regular Pujara in any of the innings here. Kohli went out for a duck in the first innings, and then he got it together like I knew he would with a 62 in the second innings. Pont went down for 8 in the second innings. Rahane went down for 10 in the second innings. You had situations where some of your guys you were expecting to produce with the bat weren't able to because of that dust or whatever you wanted to call it. And I did like Kohli's approach in the second innings because he took so many balls. He took the Sibley and the Pujara method, and it worked for him really well. He had a really nice partnership with Ashwin. But talk about some of the other bowlers. Don't forget about Axar Patel with his fifer in the second innings. Super proud of that guy. Kuldeep Yadam got himself, what did he get altogether? 1 or 2 wickets. He should have got he got 2. He should have got 3. Yeah. So he got himself 2 wickets, get a little bit of that confidence back. But don't sleep on my man, Siraj, all right? This guy only bowled 9 overs. That was it. He only bowled, 8 overs. He had 5 maidens, and he had a wicket. His economy rate in the first inning was 1. And then he got blow up in the second innings because his economy rate was 2. This guy's out of control, right? Low economy rate. I mean, he really did a fine job for the limited amount of time they had. India played a near perfect match in these situations. They won by 317 runs. I can give more love to other places, but I don't really need to. So proud of India for what they did. They were able to bounce back. And the last love I'm going to give is to Kohli, the captain. We and I gave a lot of love for Rahane for bouncing back from all-out 36. And the first match was an all-out for 36, but you lost in India. How do you allow that to happen? It does not happen too often. He got his troops together. He made a few changes, and he led them to victory. And I got to give him credit for that. I've got to because he did a masterful job with that, and his innings in the second innings was fantastic. Gabe, what did you like?
Just a bit piggyback a little bit of what you were saying. I got to show India some love. Obviously, I was rooting for England, but I got to show India some love. And you mentioned you came in super pumped with your predictions. You were saying 11 for Ashwin, and he hasn't quite gotten to 11. But in two test matches, he's got 9 wickets and 8 wickets respectively. And this guy may arguably be the best or the most important player for India. Because think about it, even in Australia, he produced, right? He got himself a fifer out there. But in that first test match versus England, when everybody on the Indian side was complaining because the pitch was flat and, England scored a bazillion runs, my man Joe Root got his double century. Ashwin was like, I don't know what y'all talking about the pitch. I'm getting wickets. It's just fine. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. The dude plays in any conditions. And here, he does it differently where everybody's going down. Like you said, there was a batting collapse by India in that second innings, right? On day 3. And Ashwin was like, I got you, Kohli. The pitch is fine to me. I can bat on this. So the conditions don't seem to bother him. So,
Point.
Good call on you. Dude, that he may be the most important player India has in this series at home because of his spin and his ability to produce with the bat, all right? On the England side, what did I like, all right? I will tell you right now that it's tough when you have a match like this where everything seems to go wrong to point out specifically, what one guy did wrong or what one guy did well. And I don't like their rotation policy. I've already talked about that. Stuart Broad in that first innings, he only got in that first innings 11 overs, right? 36 economy, did not get a wicket at all, which is surprising, right? And they bring in Moeen Ali. He got pumped for 441 economy rate, 128 runs in that first innings, but he got himself 4 wickets. All right, Jack Leach got himself 2 wickets. Ali Stone 3 wickets. So the bowling, where it wasn't as poor as the batting. The batting is really what let England down. Again, you're in India. You're facing a good. Listen, India's going to score no matter no matter what kind of pitch it is. So you're gonna have to get some. You're gonna have to battle. So, but the bowling kept you in it, and it was the batting that completely let you down. And with the exception of a few guys, you know what I'm saying? The batsmen just didn't do the time. I'll get later to what I did not like pertaining to the batsmen, but again, Ben Folks, I was corrected on the stream because I was like, man, I don't like him. I prefer, Johnny Bairstow. You guys know I have a love-hate relationship with Bairstow, okay? But Bairstow, they're on rotation, and Folks did put up 42 in that first inning. And right now, I think that this next match is so important. They've got to have all hands on deck, everybody available. You've got to be able to have your Zach Crowleys. You got to have your Dom Sibley. Unfortunately, Rory Burns. Bring in Johnny Bairstow, because you're gonna have to put up runs. These runs, and when I get to what I don't like, we'll talk about what's unacceptable. But your bowling did its job. It got wickets, and I mean, Ali Stone, who had a economy rate of 3. Jack Leach, 4 wickets in that second inning, got an economy rate of 3. Moeen Ali, economy rate in 3 in that second inning, he got himself 4. So Moeen Ali got 8 wickets. So he tied. He tied.
Jack Leach.
Not Jack Leach. He tied. Ashwin for the most wickets during this Test match. And guess what? He was the leading scorer for England. So he's making a case why he needs to be on the England squad, especially when they're pitching or bowling in subcontinent pitches, because he can produce with the bat and he can get wickets. So Moeen Ali would be their bright side. Nick, what did you not like, my friend?
Look at Moeen Ali's stat line, though. I mean, the guy, he gives up a lot of runs. He gave up 50 more than Jack Leach. Holy cow. But, I've been thinking about that. What do I not like about this match? I can't find anything with the bowlers, all right? I would love to say, I heard so much about Ishant Sharma. I'm not really seeing it. The guy barely even bowled. They did not need him at all. He bowled, I think 11 overs, and he still got a couple wickets. In the first innings, he only bowled 5 overs. He got a maiden 2 wickets, for crying out loud. I can't complain about that. I already talked about Siraj. I have no problems with that. Kuldeep Yadav, you can say, oh, this guy only got 2. He's a spinner. He only saw 12 overs. He only saw 12 overs. He didn't get much of a chance. He got 2 wickets. So I have no problem with the bowlers. When you give me a 134 and 164 for each of the innings, respectively, you're doing your job. The batsman, it makes me a little nervous. It makes sense that Shubman Gill's injured because he did not look right. He did not look like the guy we saw very, very recently. Pujara, I'm not really going to dislike him because he's not going to see 200 balls every single inning. He's just not. He's going to do what he does. I'm not too worried about it. I was very concerned with the Kohli duck because you got in that first innings, Rohit doing amazing things. And I get it. Ozjad said that Kohli he saw an amazing ball. It was just an amazing ball. So, I mean, sometimes you got to give credit to the other team. But what I'm talking about is the mental. I'm talking about the bounce back from losing that first Test match. I am personally waiting because I'm a newer fan, right? I'm personally waiting for Kohli just to take over, just to absolutely take over. We've seen Pont do it. We've seen Ashwin do it in 2 different ways. We've seen now Rohit Sharma do it. We've seen Pujara do it. We have seen Sundar go off. We have seen so many guys, batsman-wise, take over the innings, take control, and bring that back. And I just wanted that so badly. And I said on the stream, okay, he went out for a duck. There's no way he's not going to go down for a bunch in the second innings. What do you got?
I was just reminding you, you know what? The 3 drop catches, it's a big deal. Or it's actually 1 miss blown call, but the 2 drops on Joe Root, bro. Like, listen, you cannot drop a guy like Joe Root that could put up 200 plus runs. So you might want to mention that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different factors there, but I just want to see him take over. That's all I want to do. I want to see him take over. And I get it. Moeen Ali gave him a great ball in that first innings, whatever. I liked his approach to the second innings. He took his time. He was not worried. And he was in a position with that lead where he could take his time, and there was no rushing right there. What did I not like? I mean, honestly, Gabe, I'm trying to find something I did not like. I was not the biggest fan of India's second innings, if I'm going to really stretch it, right? Not the biggest fan of their second innings. But you still got 60 from Kohli, you got 100 from Ashwin, so they still end up getting 286 in this tough pitch for a batsman. So I really don't have a lot. My biggest complaint will probably be Shubman Gill, but they said he's injured. I'm more than likely thinking he's been injured for a while in this match, so that would make a lot of sense. So I'm going to save you a lot of time, Gabe. I'm sure you got a lot of material to go off of. What did you dislike?
First of all, Rory Burns. Guys, and I'm not, listen, go back since we first started watching, recency bias, right? We haven't even been fans of cricket for an entire season or entire year, right? Calendar year, I should say. We started, our first match was in April. First test match, we watched West Indies versus England. And Rory Burns has been that guy. Forget about not taking over game. He just hasn't been steady. He hasn't been reliable. And you got to be happy if he gets 20 runs or 30 runs. You know what I mean? Like, you're an opener, man. And more often than not, he fails as an opener. It's painful. It's painful. And you're like, you don't got anyone else in the cupboards? I get it. The rotation with the other guys. I understand why Bairstow wasn't in there this time. Butler's hurt. So, Butler's out for the entire test match. So I understand why Folks is in there. At least Folks got himself 42. But man, Rory Burns dismissed on a duck. Not on a duck. Well, yeah, he saw 3 balls, but dismissed 0 runs, right? On a duck in the first innings. And in the second innings, what did he score? I think it was 25. And I mean, even that was like, oh, wow. He got 25 runs. I was saying it almost in a mocking tone, man. And you can't put it all on the shoulders of Root and Stokes. And I'm fearing that England, much like without Bairstow, without Butler, they're in a position where they become now almost like my Australia, where they rely so heavily on Steve Smith and loose bus change, Lobashank. Somebody told me today, like, Gabe, you say his name differently every single time you say it.
True.
Everybody does. He can't pronounce his own name. He's like, something. You know what I mean? Seriously. But with that being said, if I'm watching an Australia match and one of those guys gets dismissed early, I know we're in trouble. I know we better bowl really, really well, because the rest of that of the batting lineup, I'm lucky if another guy will get me a half century. But I'm looking at, double-digit scores at best. That's just the reality. Okay, I was shocked when I got that 75 out of Tim Payne. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. That's how far back I'm. So I mean, come on. The guy's never had a test century, and he averages 32. All right, because people are gonna get all over me. It's not 27. That's okay. You're right. It's 32. So I'm like, you know what? When you don't have those guys, it's concerning, man. It's absolutely concerning. As far as the bowlers are concerned, yeah. You know what? Moeen Ali, I'm gonna give you credit. You got me 100. I mean, you got me 4 wickets every inning, so 8 wickets total. I'll take that. But you gave up 98 runs in the second inning and 100 and what was it? 130. Ooh, that can't be right. Holy cow! For the love of Pete, I don't even. Oh, Nick, are you ready for this? Moeen Ali, 128 runs the first inning and 98 runs the second innings. So my man gave up a total of 226 runs. Oh gosh. It's disgusting. Oh man. You can't get pumped like that. You just can't do it. And it's like England needs it. You can't tell me these are the best spinners you got, man. If Don Best and Moeen Ali and Leach are the best spinners you got, then you got to go back to the drawing board. You got to send your guys to play Class A cricket in India so they can get used to those pitches. Because, come on, I'll take the 8 wickets, but you gave up 226 runs, man. 226 runs. You literally gave up. That's what teams score in an entire innings, dude. That's what teams score. England didn't even score 226 runs in any inning, in any of their innings, right? The first innings, they were all out for 134. In the second inning, they were out for 164. He gave up more innings, more runs than they scored in any of the two innings. That's ridiculous, bro. That's just ridiculous. And it's like, come on, man. They better do something. I hope Archer's not hurt. They keep saying Archer's hurt. If Archer's hurt, you need to bring Stuart Broad. You got to bring Jimmy Anderson. Hopefully the swing will come into play. But you cannot go with a guy that gets pumped that way. I mean, it's forget about it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be put in a position where you're chasing so many runs that you're in trouble. I will say that I think England, and I made my prediction early, and I'm not just trying to stick to my guns here. I think they still have a chance to at least draw this series 2-2, possibly win another game, maybe even draw the game so that it's only a 2-1 loss, because again, there's so much talent. Ben Stokes isn't going to get dismissed every time this quickly. You've seen what Joe Root's been doing lately. Joe Root, man, I was shocked. What? Forget he didn't even get a half century. Forget about a double century or a century. Are you kidding me? So he's not going to play this poorly. So I think that they have a chance. But for me, I think that the bowling has to be addressed. And I know it's going to sound like I'm picking on them. You guys, just look at the numbers. Rory Burns, not just this match, since April, since the first test match post-COVID, he's just been, he's been horrible. He's been horrible. There's got to be another opener. There's got to. Bring up somebody from Class A if possible. You got to do something. You just can't, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. What are they expecting? That he's just going to overnight get better? He's just going to, magically, they're magically delicious. He's going to wish on a star? Come on, man. Bro, it's just.
Was that a Lucky Charms reference?
That's a Lucky Charms reference. They're magically delicious. Nick, what did you learn, my friend?
Does that mean that you're insane because you expect to beat me in a cricket match? No, I was kidding. One mini thing I learned, one extra thing I learned for all you is Root was able to still stay above the Root line with his combined average for this test match. Because you're right. He scored 8 in 33. And England, unfortunately, they have got no one else to step up right now besides Moeen Ali and his T20 ways, for crying out loud.
Right.
What did I learn? I learned that test cricket is so gosh darn unpredictable. It's absolutely crazy. And this next test match in Ahmedabad, hopefully I said that correctly or close. This is going to be interesting because they're going to christen in this cricket stadium. This will be the first match ever played there. And I'll never forget when the Mets opened up Citi Field. And I think it was the Padres was the first opponent or one of the first opponents. And they went in there and they won that first game and they won the series there. And as a Padres fan, our team was so garbage. We're like, we own Citi Field. You don't ever want us to come back to Citi Field. Could you imagine? You're right. England statistically still has a chance to draw the series.
Right.
Can you imagine if they win that first match there? For the rest of time, they can say, we own this stadium. And that's more like bulletin board material. It's not really going to play a huge role in the match.
Right.
But if you don't think psychology is not involved in cricket, then I think you're a little crazy. What I learned is it's just so unpredictable. This pitch was very different than the first pitch, but they both played a huge role. The toss played a huge role. And I do not believe that the pitch is going to play this much of a factor in the third match because typically in sports, it's not the same thing over and over and over and over. Unless you're talking about that Knicks having losing seasons, then that just keeps happening.
Drive-by. Drive-by.
I couldn't help myself. But it's so unpredictable. Rohit Sharma, Rahane, two guys that I'll own it right now. I call for both to be gone because they're killing the team. And they were saviors in this match. They did take over this match. Way more Sharma, obviously, but don't take away from what Rahane did. And, Rahane's making catches too in the slips there. It was kind of an easy win, this game. I mean, it was a little too easy, for crying out loud. A little too Raph. Hopefully you guys know that reference. But I don't think we're going to have the same old business in the next match. I think it's going to be incredibly competitive. I think it's going to be a fight to the end, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Kohli reacts. Can he take over like I've been told he can so many times? Who's going to be our hero next? I definitely learned that Ashwin is here to stay. Don't even think about dropping that guy unless he's tired or injured. And, talk about the fast bowlers. You're talking about Rory Burns. Ishant Sharma got him on the third ball, for crying out loud. The third ball of the match. And he's a pace bowler in this Dust Bowl. That's what I learned. You can never predict anything. So I will never go into a match saying, I know 100% this is who's going to win.
What I learned, and I specifically picked up on this today, is being a spinner is important, right? Especially in the subcontinent pitch. Wow, big revelation there, Gabe. But just like baseball, being a spin bowler is more than just about having the spin. It's about setting up your opponent. There's a method to the madness. And here's the difference. In this match, you've got two sets of spin bowlers. On one side, you've got 2 or 3 sets of spin bowlers. On another side, on the other side, if you want to count, Kuldeep Yadav. But the difference was you didn't see them in the Indian side make as many mistakes as you saw with the England side with their bowlers, with Leach. A lot of time just missing his spot. Coming up short. They're able to see it from a mile away. You're still going to get wickets, but you're going to get the Moeen Ali kind of expensive wickets where you're getting pumped for 128 runs to get those 4 wickets, if that makes sense. You're not going to get that with India. And I think that the best example of that was how Ashwin came out and got Dan Lawrence. First ball, he knew Dan Lawrence is going to try to attack me. He's going to try to, could run up the crease to go ahead and take me yard. So while he's expecting that, I'm going to go ahead and bowl a wide ball, bowl a lot quicker. And it literally, Dan Lawrence was like, what just happened? He tried to defend. It looked so bad. It went through his legs and he ended up getting stumped, right? It's up here. It's not so much about how good you are as far as a spinner, how much rotation you get on it. You also got to have a plan of attack. You know what I mean? What's that from? I have a plan. Attack. You know what I mean?
Avengers.
Really, what did he do last time? What's this guy been doing when he faces spinners? What does he do with the first ball? What does he do on that last ball? I always say, especially in T20, I call it the action ball, right? The last ball, guys, for whatever reason, want to go yard. They could go, being conservative, but in that last ball, they go for the 6. They go for the boundary. And as a bowler, if I know that, I'm going to go ahead and go with a slow delivery. I may go with a full toss. I'm going to give you something that you're not expecting. And that's what I think makes Ashwin a world-class bowler, and the Indian bowlers a little bit better than the England bowlers, because they're not just talented as far as spin, but they also set up the batters. You know what I'm saying? Axar Patel, the way he got out Joe Root in that first inning, that was a beautiful ball, but he set him up. And I mean, that's what you got to do. You can't just say, oh, I'm a spinner. I'm going to go out here and, just keep bowling, getting pumped for runs. And eventually they're going to make a mistake and I'm going to get runs. I'm going to get my wicket. Okay. Yeah, but you're going to get a wicket. Ashwin gave up 53 runs and got 3 wickets. In the second inning, I'm talking about Ashwin, 53 runs, got 3 wickets. Or let's actually go with the leading wicket taker. 5 runs for Axar Patel, 60 runs. Okay. 98 runs. For 4, that's what Moeen Ali gave up. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference there. You got to use what's up here, not just keep throwing it. And I think that That's what the major difference is. That's why a guy like Lion sets you up. He works you and works you. I remember watching on the test, them talking about Lion and all the bowlers, from Patty Cummings to Mitchell Stark, are all saying he's the most important guy on this team because he's going to frustrate the batter. He's going to frustrate him, bowl, get his dots, and then he's going to get his wicket. And he works guys like that. Watching Nathan Lyon bowl Gary is a thing of beauty. And I think that Ashwin is right up there with Nathan Lyon, where they set you up. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that highlight how he got out Lawrence. And I'm telling you, he made Lawrence look absolutely silly.
Yeah, I mean, some great points, my friend. That was like professional analytic commentator ability right there. That was very, very nice.
I have my moments from time to time.
I want to say I apologize for the yawn I had slip out while Gabe was talking. We're doing this a little late right now, and I apologize for that. Now, the last thing I want to say is, Gabe, you're the former prize fighter. You're the former boxer, right? What typically happens when the boxer that's favored to win goes into a match expecting it's going to be an early knockout, easy win, easy victory, and his opponent punches him in the face and has a really good round again in the first few rounds? What more than likely is that favored boxer going to do the next round?
Oh, he's going to come out and he's going to come out swinging, man. He's going to come out swinging
after him. He's going to try to show everyone why he's the favorite one, and he's going to give him probably everything the best he has in that next round. And the other boxers got to be ready for it and ready to defend and not take those body shots. England, if they do anything else but win, they're out. The match is at Lord's in the WTC. It's at Lord's, for crying out loud. If they draw or if England loses, they're done. Australia has technically a better chance than India does because they have more scenarios that they have going for them right now. If India loses one match, Australia's in. All right? So I believe that England's going to give their best punch. England's going to give their best shot this next match, and I will be shocked. I don't care how old they are. Broad and Anderson have got to be in there. I would be shocked if they're not. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see if Kohli's ready to be expecting that and see what kind of roster he delivers and see what kind of situation he's got going on, who's bowling with whom, how they're going to attack it, what's going to happen in this new stadium. It's going to be very, very exciting. We have like 8 days before it happens, so plenty of time before that next match. But those are my final thoughts for this match. It was a huge win. It was a little bit too easy, but I'll take it as an India fan. And, I'm just going to say, don't forget to like and subscribe. Gabe, I'm going to give you the final words, my friend.
I think that this is going to be a more balanced match, and I think that there is no advantage coming in because no one knows how this pitch is going to play, right? It's a brand new venue, right? Brand new stadium. So I think that really it puts India at a disadvantage because your home field advantage is no longer your home field advantage. You've never played on this pitch. So you're surprised. What do? Do you go with 3 spinners and 2 pacers? Do you go, for this next match? Everybody's saying that Mohammad Shami is healthy. Well, you might want to have a Mohammad Shami, but does that mean you drop Siraj and keep your spin up, assuming that the pitch is going to be spin friendly? Because you don't know. You've never played here before. And the same thing if you're England, oh man, never played here before. Do we know how this pitch is going to play? Do we load up with our spinners just because it's a subcontinent pitch? So we're expecting our spinners to do well, or do we go with, like you mentioned, Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, the known quantities, and those are tough decisions. Those are honestly tough decisions. So I think that it really lends for a very exciting game. And like you said, I don't think anyone is going to go ahead and blow out any other side. It's going to be one of those games where, kind of like my West Indies, you're going to fight, tooth and nail to get the win.
And not to mention, I know it's like you the last word, but not to mention it's pink ball for this third match. So Indy doesn't play the pink ball too well. I mean, this is going to be a huge match. Hearts are going to be broken after this match. So we're going to see whose hearts will be broken. And, with all that being said, let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Let us know what you felt about this match that got ended in 3.5 days, for crying out loud. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.
That's 6 runs.